See that out. Copies all. Go ahead. Message to observer. Alpha 3 rounds, AT delay in effect. 3 guns.
Hello, and welcome back to Warfighter University. I'm Eric Curry, bringing you today's open source U.S. military update. Today's date is the 24th of October, 2025. We've got 3 major stories that reflect how the U.S. military is evolving: an infrastructure financing shift, a key weather data reversal, and a naval incident with regional implications. Let's dive in. First up, the U.S. Army is making a dramatic shift in how it intends to fund its infrastructure. According to a report, Army Secretary Daniel Driscoll and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent convened a forum of about 15 major private equity firms and asked them to propose investment models to help the Army meet a roughly $150 billion infrastructure shortfall over the next decade. The Army says it only has about $15 billion in traditional funding, so the remainder must come from outside capital. Some of the ideas pitched include using underutilized land and depots, land swaps for computing and rare earth processing facilities, and other meaty strategic projects rather than just standard construction contracts. Why this matters: modernization of bases, logistics hubs, data and tech infrastructure is critical for readiness and competition. But integrating private capital models into national security infrastructure introduces new risk vectors, such as profit motive, long-term lease contracts, oversight, and security classification concerns. Watch how Congress and oversight bodies respond. This kind of public-private model could become a template for other services or commands. What to watch for: which firms land deals and what the terms look like. How this impacts readiness metrics. Will bases close, depots improve, or data centuries accelerate? Whether this strategy draws pushback from lawmakers or audit agencies concerned about operational control and mission risk. And for our second story, the Department of War had announced plans to stop sharing key microwave sensor data from the Defense Meteorological Satellite Program with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. That data is used in hurricane forecasting, tracking sea ice, and other environmental monitoring. After receiving pushback from scientists and meteorologists, the Department of War reversed course and will continue sharing that data, at least until the new system is fully online, effectively averting a gap in critical weather and environmental data. This is important because extreme weather events and climate factors play a growing role in military operations, training, humanitarian assistance, disaster relief, readiness of equipment, and global basing. Losing this data could degrade preparedness. It also shows how technical decisions, i.e. satellite sensor transitions and data sharing agreements, intersect with operational readiness and strategic risk. It also underscores the broader challenge of how the military balances modernization against continuity of service to both military and civilian partners. What to watch for here: the transition timeline for the new satellites and what data gaps may still exist, whether the Department of War will fully restore access or phase out some data streams permanently, and impacts on training bases, especially in weather-sensitive environments, and how sustainment and maintenance account for those environmental risks. Turning international, a U.S. Navy guided missile destroyer on counter-drug operations in the Southern Caribbean was overflown by 2 Venezuelan military aircraft in what the Pentagon described as a highly provocative move. The aircraft reportedly flew in international waters during a narcotics interdiction tasking where U.S. forces had recently struck a speedboat linked to a Venezuelan organized crime group. Why this matters, it illustrates how U.S. naval and maritime forces operate globally in contested and non-traditional mission sets, to include counter-narcotics, but also great power signaling. The incident underscores the dual-role nature of maritime forces, normal operations, and strategic posture. It also highlights the risk of escalation or miscalculation when national military aircraft engage or intercept U.S. military vessels in international waters. When you pull back, these three stories point towards several recurring themes in the U.S. military today. Of those, number one is readiness through infrastructure and funding innovation. Number two is technical continuity and data integrity. And last but not least, global posture in non-traditional domains. Together, they tell us the military's future is as much about finance, data, and global positioning as it is about tanks and aircraft. Leaders at all levels must think beyond weapon systems. They must integrate infrastructure, information, and maritime presence into their readiness calculus. That's all for today. Thank you for watching today's military update. If you found this helpful, please subscribe and drop a comment. What part of today's briefing caught your attention the most? I'll be posting these updates daily, so if you want ahead of the curve insight on readiness, resources, and operations, don't miss the next one. I'm Eric Curry with Warfighter University. Stay sharp, stay ready, and I'll see you tomorrow.